Hey y'all, it's Chris and welcome back to Creative Loops. This is my channel where I explore all things yarn, crochet, and sometimes knit. You will often hear my 9-year-old son, Donte, in some of my videos with me. You'll also hear him in this video. He's not sitting with me right now, but he'll be asking me questions later on in this video. So he also serves as, he gave himself a new title recently and no longer wants the title of editor, but creative director. So Donte serves as my creative director for these videos and gives me his thoughts and feedback on a lot of the things that I work on, as well as his opinions on the yarn that I use. If you like this type of content, please consider sticking around, watching the video, and I hope I earn your subscription by the end of this video. In today's video, I'm going to show off 2 projects that I worked on while I was on vacation in Mexico, as well as answer some questions for a crochet version of Would You Rather that was created by Brandi from Moon Bay Crochet here on YouTube. So jumping right in, I want to first share the project that I did take with me. So I know in one of the videos I mentioned that I don't think I was going to bring a project with me, and the moment that I said that, I started doubting myself and was questioning, I think I should take a project with me. Even if I don't work on it, just having it with me would feel so much better than not having it. So I did bring with me Premier Hipster Cotton, and this is a 3-weight yarn. So it's a lightweight yarn. This is machine wash and tumble dry. The color is Cool Breeze. It is 229 yards, 210 meters, and 3.5 ounces or 100 grams, and it's 100% cotton. So I initially bought this yarn to make another messenger bag because I did make a messenger bag for Donte using this yarn but in a different colorway, and so I was going to use this yarn to make a different messenger bag, but as I started working with it, I decided to actually make a shirt for Donte. And so I started working on this. It's almost kind of looks like a short tunic, and this is done in my favorite stitch, the moss stitch. And I started at the sleeves and then started working my way through the rest of the garment. I did it in 2 parts and then seamed them together here in the middle. You can't really see it that well. You can see the seam there. And Donte really liked this. He wore this at the airport on our way home from Mexico. Very lightweight, and it really fits Donte's style. Donte loves these kind of tie-dye colors, tie-dye aesthetic, these splashes of really bright colors with some of these neutral colors. So this really fit Donte's style, and he really liked it. So this is what I was making while I was in Mexico. And while I was there, if you saw my last video, I bought some yarn, and so I decided to use the Katia yarn. This is a Spanish brand of yarn, so Katia is from Spain, but this specific yarn was made in Turkey. So it's a Spanish company that made this yarn, had this yarn made in Turkey. And so this is Summer Paint, and it is an acrylic cotton mix, so it's 70% acrylic, 30% cotton. It does not have the yarn weight on here, and so I think this is more of a 2-weight yarn. It might be considered a 3. I think it's too thin to be considered a 3-weight yarn, so I'm gonna say it's a 2-weight. The colorway, it just says color 503, so I don't know if this has an actual name for the color, but it is color 503, and it is Katia's Summer Paint, and this is a limited edition yarn. So I bought 2 skeins of that, and after I finished this for Donte, I decided to start working on a simple shawl. So I used a pattern. It's a free pattern from It's a free pattern from Yarnspirations, and I think it is just called a simple ribbed shawl, and this is how it came out. And so it does have tassels on the bottom and on the corners, and it just has these double crochet windows as well as the ribbing here. So let me try and show you without hitting my mic the ribbed sections here. And so this is when I'm working on the wrong side, I did half double crochet front post stitches to create this rib look, and then there were followed by a round of half double crochets, another round of double crochet windows, which is just double crochet, chain one, double crochet, chain one, double crochet, and then followed that with a row of double crochets, and then back to those half double crochet front post stitches. So it's a very simple 4-row repeat shawl that in these colors just worked up beautifully. And I did not color control because I wanted to make sure I used as much of the yarn as possible. I wanted all of the yarn in this shawl, and I think it still came out quite beautifully even without color controlling. When one skein ended, I started again here at the yellow, and so this is where one skein ended and another one began, and so I just worked my way reverse with the yellow. So I attached at the yellow and then worked my way back through those color gradients there, and ended up with this. So this is what I made partially in Mexico, and then I finished this here at home. I will say, with this being primarily an acrylic yarn, it's not as soft as I expected it to be. Don't get me wrong, it is still very soft. It's a soft cotton. Most cotton, when you work it up and wash it and use it quite a bit, it softens up a lot over time. And this, I washed it already. I washed it and then had it lay out to dry. It is mostly dried and it is soft, but considering it is mostly acrylic, I would have expected it to be a lot softer than this. It does have a lot of characteristics of cotton yarn, so it feels like cotton, it looks like cotton. Even the stitch definition is very, very similar to what you would expect from a cotton yarn. It does have some fuzzies that you'll see here. So over time, it looks like it will fuzz up just a little bit, maybe peel a little bit as well. But for the most part, it is a very beautiful stitch definition there. Oh, I love that. Like, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, that is beautiful. So this is the first thing I made with the yarn that I brought home from Mexico. So stay tuned to see what I make with all of the other yarns. I will link the pattern for this below as well. And yeah, that's the updates on my makes. The second part of this video is going to be Donte asking me questions. It's a would you rather crochet edition, and let's get into that. These questions were created by Brandi from Moon Bay Crochet here on YouTube, and Donte is going to read the questions for me. I'm going to go ahead and answer the questions. Question number 1.
Would you rather have your favorite hook break or your yarn stash mysteriously vanish?
I would definitely rather have my favorite hook break than my yarn stash mysteriously vanish. I'm not really devoted to a specific crochet hook. I often switch my crochet hooks on the same project, and some of you might cringe at this, but I will often use different branded crochet hooks for the same project as well, depending on where I am and what I'm doing. Like, I have a couple of Susan Bates hooks laying around in places. I also have a couple of Clover Moore hooks. And so if I'm sitting in a specific place and my Clover hook is there, I'll use my Clover hook. If I'm sitting somewhere else and my Susan Bates hook is there, I'll use my Susan Bates hook, or even my Furls hooks. I switch out my Furls with Alodic hooks all the time, because sometimes the weight feels good in my hand, but it also makes my wrist tire faster because the Furl Streamline hooks are so much heavier. And so I say all of that because there isn't one specific hook that's my favorite. I don't really have a favorite hook, and the hooks that I do use are easily replaceable. So if I did break one, I can go up to Michael's, or I can go on Amazon and I can order a new hook, and I can continue with what I was doing. And if they're out of Clover and Moore's, I don't have a problem buying a Susan Bates hook, or if my Furls hook were to break or were to get lost, I have absolutely no problem replacing it with a Susan Bates or a Clover or Moore. But if my yarn stash were to vanish, then I would feel a little lost for a bit. I have some yarn that is discontinued that I've been waiting on the perfect project to use it for, and if that were to disappear, I would be very disappointed. Now, a part of me thinks about the possibility of my yarn stash disappearing, and I get a little bit excited about that because I feel like it will free me from the weight of trying to figure out what to do with the yarn that I do have that I don't have plans for. So if all of that yarn were to just go away, then I can easily start back over and find some newer, just as beautiful yarn to play around with.
Would you rather crochet all day in peace or go on your dream vacation but be banned from crocheting?
I would choose the dream vacation, because if it's really my dream vacation, it would include visiting a yarn store. And while I'm not able to crochet, the question does not say anything about knitting. So I might try and sneak in some knitting while I'm on vacation, but if I couldn't do anything with yarn, I would also be perfectly fine with that, because if I'm on my dream vacation, then that means there's going to be plenty of stuff for me to do and enjoy, and I won't be bored. I'll be with people I love, doing things that I love. And so while crochet and knitting is one thing that I love, there's so many other aspects of my life that I can easily set crochet and knitting aside to enjoy. And if I can't crochet for a week, coming back home and seeing my crochet hooks and yarn will just make it so much more enjoyable when I am able to pick it up.
Would you rather spend all day crocheting one large intricate project or multiple smaller simple ones?
I would say give me the large, intricate project any day. Those are the projects that I gravitate towards. I usually will gravitate towards projects that take at least a week, maybe a little bit longer to finish. I never really work on projects that I can finish in one day, not that often. Most of the projects that I work on are those larger, intricate pieces. So give me that any day of the week. I will be happy, because a lot of those projects I'm able to get into a rhythm and I'm able to zone out and then just think. I do a lot of thinking when I'm crocheting. I stay in my head, and so those larger pieces, while they take longer to finish, are ones that allow me to really be in my head, think a lot, problem solve, try and find some solutions to whatever is going on in my world, and I don't have to focus so much on counting stitches or, making sure I'm doing the right number of rounds and all of that stuff that comes with those smaller, pieces that you can do multiples of in one specific day. I also don't do markets. I watch a lot of people who do markets on here, and I think it's interesting, but I don't have any interest in doing markets. And so I think that those smaller projects really work for someone who's doing a lot of market prep. But since I don't do that, there's really no need for me to kind of churn out a bunch of different smaller things.
Would you rather crochet with a soft yarn that spills easily or a scratchier yarn that holds its shape?
Give me the soft, pilly yarn any day of the week. I love a good soft yarn, and while a yarn that peels can be frustrating. I have no problem kind of like snipping off those little peels, taking a little a shaver to it, shaving some of that off, and it looks brand new again. The feel of yarn can turn me off really quickly, and so while I don't mind a yarn like Red Heart, I think that is still tolerable to me. I have no problem using Red Heart in certain projects. I haven't used Red Heart in a long time outside of creating that robe that I made earlier in the year, and I don't usually buy Red Heart anymore as much as I used to back in the day, because I found other acrylics that are reasonably priced that work just as well as Red Heart and last just as long as Red Heart does. So as long as it's not scratchier than a Red Heart acrylics, a Red Heart value acrylic yarn, then I'm probably fine with it and it's not going to really bother me. But I would still probably choose a softer yarn over a yarn that has more structure to it.
Would you rather crochet for a baby or for an adult?
I would rather crochet for an adult. I do crochet for babies. I recently made a couple baby blankets for my nieces. I'm going to be making a mermaid tail for my niece sometime soon. And so I will crochet for babies, but I prefer to crochet for adults because adults can understand the love and care that went into a handmade object. Babies don't understand that. Babies have they're not even close to being able to conceptualize what it means to make something with your hands. And so the appreciation for a handmade gift is there with an adult. Usually, sometimes you'll have an adult that doesn't necessarily appreciate a handmade gift, and those are people that you don't want to make something for. Not everyone deserves a handmade gift. That's also something Brandi from Moonbay Crochet here on YouTube says all the time, that not everyone in your life deserves a handmade gift. So, there are some adults that you won't want to make something for, but then there are other adults who would really love and appreciate the thought and effort that goes into making something by hand for them, and just having that mutual understanding of like, look, I spent time and energy thinking specifically about you making this piece. That means something and can be really cherished and shared amongst adults, folks who are able to understand what that means. And that appreciation just isn't there for a baby. Now, babies do appreciate things in different ways, but a handmade blanket versus a blanket that I bought from the store, the baby's not going to be able to know the difference between that, and will probably cherish both of those baby blankets just as much if they still have that when they get older. And so it's not like it doesn't matter less. There's just that immediate gratification of that person knowing that you spent time on this.
Would you rather crochet an item that is purely decorative or one that is functional?
Functional. Almost everything I make is functional. I make a lot of wearables. I do crochet amigurumi every now and then, and even that, most of those I would consider functional, but even the ones that I do make, I usually will make them for children as well. And so those I still see as something that's functional because it's a toy and it's not decorative. It's not gonna just sit there. It's gonna be used, it's gonna be hugged, it's gonna be appreciated. I have made decorative items before, but I prefer to make stuff that is functional, like especially if I'm donating it. If I don't have a plan for it myself and I'm making it with the intention of gifting or donating, it's always going to be functional.
Would you rather crochet with a bright, bold color or a muted, neutral color?
Give me the neutrals. I love a good neutral. Give me those browns, those grays, those blacks, those creams. I love a good neutral, but I also love a good bright, bold color too. So I gravitate towards those neutral colors, probably because I'm a millennial and millennial gray or millennial beige is a thing. And so I do fall into that trap of the, millennial beige neutral aesthetic. And that's just what I gravitate towards. But I often will always put like a pop of color into the things that I make too, because I do love a good bright, bold color. Like give me a good orange, give me a good bright red, or a bold, deep purple. Those colors really do mix well with some of those neutrals. And you know, I love a good green too, like the colors here in these trees, or those plants. I will often always incorporate green into a lot of the things that I make, but I always start with my neutrals. I will figure out what the neutral is or what the base I want to work with is, and then try and figure out colors from there a lot of the times. So probably right now where I am, this could always change based on how I'm feeling. I will gravitate towards a good neutral color, but you know, maybe next week, if you ask me this question, I might be more into those bright, bold colors too. So,
Would you rather crochet for fun or for a specific purpose, like a gift?
I think this one's a little difficult to answer, because most of the time I am crocheting for fun, but I'm thinking about what am I going to do with this, and a lot of times I am going to gift it away or donate it. And so I guess it starts out as something of like, I just want to crochet, and so I'm doing this for fun, for my own entertainment, for my own enjoyment, and it's going to have a purpose. And so I don't just crochet and then just let stuff sit. It has to have some sort of purpose to it, I guess. And so I guess that is the answer, is that I do crochet with a purpose, but it's fun for me to do that. With that, I want to thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked what you see, please hit that like button. If you enjoy these types of videos, consider subscribing. I hope I've earned your subscription. And please keep those creative loops going. I'll see you next time. Bye.